Welcome to my 21-day beginner flow yoga. We begin to invoke true healing into our lives when we choose to commit to ourselves by walking away from darkness and into our light, the light of love, peace, joy, seated within us all. In today's practice, let us imagine and allow ourselves the gift of excitement and enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic. It is an expression of divine within you. Let's begin. Let us now come onto all fours, sink down into our child pose, also known as Balasana. Hold it for about 5 breaths. Let's come back up on all fours and coming into our cat-cow. Inhale up, exhale and round the spine. Each pose that we flow into and hold, we hold for 5 rounds. Now extend the right arm, left leg back, find your balance, hold for 30 seconds, and you will repeat on the left side. Extending now the left arm, right leg. 30-second hold. Bring your hands back in position and raise knees into a downward facing dog. 5 breath hold. Making sure you ground the heels, piking the glutes up to the ceiling, and then come back into the floor and into a child pose, transitioning right into Cobra and Salabhasana, where we take our entire body up, lifting the legs, the chest, and the arms. Coming right into an upward facing dog, inhaling, and make sure your shoulders are pushed and pulled away from your ears. Then back into a down dog. Hold for 5. Step forward between the hands, raise the head, fold as you exhale, and inhale all the way up with the arms up to the sky and hands into prayer. Let's come into Sun Salutation A, 3 rounds. Head up, fold, step back or walk back, plank and press, upward facing dog, exhale into a down dog. Hold for 5 breaths and just try to allow yourself to acclimate into this pose, releasing any tightness and tension in the body. Coming forward, head up, breathe, exhale, fold, inhale, arms up, hands into prayer, exhale. Inhale, arms and arch back, fold forward, inhale, head up, exhale, walk or jump back, exhaling down, inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale into a downward facing dog. Hold here. You have 1 more round, so try to catch your breath. If you find yourself winded, pace yourself, pause, and you may continue again. Come forward, head up, exhale, fold, inhale, arms up, and hands in prayer. Samastitihi. Inhale, arms extend, fold forward, head up, exhale, walk or jump back, plank and press, inhale up, exhale into down dog. Another 5 count hold before you come forward and step into a Samastitihi pose. Slowly now, walk or jump forward, head up, fold, arms up into the sky, hands in prayer. Now let's go ahead and step back with your left leg, coming into Warrior 1, holding for 5 counts. Make sure you're grounding the heel in the back, activating that leg completely up, feeling that stretch take place all the way to the glute. Now release and fold forward as you now take the back heel, center it towards the ceiling now, and folding forward. 5 breath, hold. Ground the heel now, and let's come into warrior, reverse warrior, where we extend the hand behind the knee. Hold for 5, and then bring the palm down to the floor and extend the left arm over, bicep over your ear. And then coming back up into a warrior 2. Remain calm, and then let's Transition right into triangle. Again, each pose you're holding for 5 breaths. Transition now into a reverse triangle, and you may modify with the hand on the inside of the foot rather than the outside. Place the palm down, stepping back, press into an upward facing dog, and then down dog. Hold for 5, and we are to repeat on the other side. Coming back, stepping forward this time with your left foot forward, and let's go into that warrior 1. 5 breath hold, and feel the power of this pose. Releasing, and now square your hips and keep your heel facing up in the back foot as you fold forward. You may modify this again with blocks. Bring the heel back down, and let's go into a reverse warrior. Extending now the opposite arm into the ceiling and the other one behind the knee. Bring the palm right back onto the floor, and as the other one now transitions bicep to ear. 5 breath hold. Coming back into a warrior 2. 5 breath hold. And transition right into Trikonasana, also known as triangle. You will slowly get used to the poses, the name of the poses, and the flow. Take your hand down and reverse triangle. Modify with a block on the inside of the hand, and if hamstrings are super tight, knee can be bent. Step back, plank and press, upward facing dog, and exhale to down dog, where there will be a 5 breath hold in this pose. Now let's come into our tree pose. Right leg supports, left one up, and right. Anytime you want to, you have a hard time bringing the heel up into the groin, you can bring it below the knee. 5 breath hold or 30-second hold. And shift to the opposite leg. Keep your gaze in one spot. And allow yourself to just focus on the breath and be in the moment. Let's now release, spread forward into a forward halfway fold where our arms are fully extended and we're gazing forward. Hold for 5 and then release and come into a spinal twist where you take the right hand centered and then you do the same for the left. Each pose holds for 5. Sun Salutation B, extend the arms, arch back, fold forward, and let's come into Utkatasana. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and fold forward, head up, step, jump back, plank press, upward facing dog, inhale, exhale, extending the right leg up and bring it forward, inhale all the way up, hands now down, exhale as you transition forward into an up dog, and repeat on the left, inhaling all the way up. Transition down into a plank press, upward facing dog, exhaling, and then inhaling into an up dog and then down dog, exhale. It is a lot to begin with for beginners, so slow down your pace and just try to follow your breath without focusing too much on the poses. Let's fold forward, jump forward, head up, breathe, coming back into Utkatasana, hold for 3, 2, 1, and hands in prayer, Samastitihi. Let us now bring ourselves into a standing pigeon. In the standing pigeon, allow yourself to hold here, come into seated, keep your heel down, hold for 30 seconds, and then let's repeat on the opposite side, getting a nice stretch on the glute, breathing in and exhaling, focusing just on releasing those muscles. And now we begin slowly by coming into our spinal twist, standing spinal twist. You may, if you have trouble, do what you can. You can bring the hand on the inside rather than the outside of the knee. But focus on really getting into that breath and then going right back out as we transition to the other side. Exhaling and then fully extending the arm, one towards the ground and the other one towards the ceiling. You can always use blocks if you need to modify. Slowly now, bring the hand back down and come into a forward fold, releasing that pose and breathing in and out of the nose deeply. About 5 deep breaths, and then slowly extend the gaze forward. Bring yourself in a plank press, upward facing dog, inhaling. And just hold here in 3 counts, and then sink into child pose to rest for 5 breaths. Coming into our camel pose, where we reach for the heels. Again, modify one arm at a time if needed. Otherwise, draw the head back and allow yourself to feel this power of this pose into the heart and throat. Coming now, transitioning into puppy pose, bringing the chin down to the floor and allowing now yourself to align your hip to your knees, transitioning right into our bow pose. Grab a hold of the ankles and lift. We're going to now slowly come down into a child pose. Hold here for 5 breaths. It is a counter pose for any back bend. Let's come back out. Bring your legs forward. Let's bring the left heel into the groin. This is called Janu Siddhasana. And we're going to grab a hold of the toes or the heel, whatever's easier. Make sure you're extending the sternum forward so you're not rounding the back. Hold for 5 breaths each leg. Let's repeat with the opposite leg now. Let us come into now reverse plank as we lift and thrust the pelvis up high. Feel the power of this pose. Hold for 5 up to 8 count breath. Back down, and now let's go into a full forward fold. Bring the hands on top of the toes or towards the heels. Hold for 5 up to 8 counts. Coming into the cobbler pose, also known as the Baddha Konasana. Bound your feet together and let's round the spine, bringing the forehead down to your feet. 5 up to 8 count pose. Hold. Let's slide down on the mat and bring ourselves into a bridge pose. Align your heels right towards your hands, shoulder width apart, and thrust the pelvis up high, engaging on your shoulders, placing the weight firmly on your feet and also on the shoulder and head. Hold for 5 and then come into plow, where you take the legs over your head and try to keep those legs nice and straight. 5 to 8 count breath. Hold. Then extend the legs up toward the sky into Salavasana, which is our candle pose, and hold this one. 5 breaths. Release it. And now let's allow ourselves to come into a nice spinal twist on the floor. Keep your shoulders grounded and try to ground the knee at the same time. 5 to 8 breaths, and then repeat onto the other side. Coming to our final Matsyasana pose, which is our fish pose, where we arch our back, tip of the head is on the floor, and the legs are lifted. This one variation that I'm doing is more advanced. If it's too advanced for you, you can keep your legs on the floor, but just make sure the toes are pointed. Hold for 5 up to 8, and now our favorite pose, Shavasana. We are born with open minds and unquenchable search for knowledge. So, in this practice, allow yourself to imagine and allow. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.